Welcome to the KSPC broadcast of International Itinerant, brought to you by World Nomads in conjunction with Lonely Planet. I'm your host, Kate Mason, and today we'll be speaking with world traveler Sharon Doerre. Sharon is an anthropologist, writer, and mother who has a PhD from the University of Texas. So Sharon, what piqued your interest in the Middle East, and how did you come to first travel there?
Just by luck, one of my uncle's colleagues was an archaeologist who worked in the Middle East, who worked in Syria, and they knew that I had archaeological experience, so we met. And I said, sure, I'd like to go. I didn't know where Syria was. I had to kind of look at it on a map. And then that summer of 1988, I traveled with the American excavation to Tel Tunanir to far northeastern Syria. And that was my first trip outside of the United States. We arrived at dark. We had to walk out of the plane onto the tarmac, and were met by soldiers and taken into the airport. The whole time, I just took everything in visually. I felt like I was this enormous eyeball in the markets, walking on the streets in Damascus, hearing the mosque call for the first time, right away, the dawn call to prayer. You'll hear it, from one mosque to another, to another. And then I was absolutely riveted to my window in the bus, heading out across the desert highway into northeastern Syria, which is someplace that most people in Damascus never go. It'd be like, you come to New York City and you tell everyone, I can't wait to get to West Virginia. There's that real, why would you want to go out there? It's very empty. It seems kind of very threatening. So that's what we did.
Great. So could you describe to me a little bit about the archaeological dig, maybe some sights and sounds?
And we excavated in the style that's very typical in the old world, in that young Americans were volunteers who were there to do all of the recording. For every American volunteer, there were 5 workmen, and we have to work together to dig this 5 by 5 meter square. And we did.
Earlier, you sort of explained yourself as this all-seeing eye, just taking in the sights and sounds of the country. How would you say travel has opened your eyes to the importance of understanding different cultures, different countries, such like this? Because I know you ended up doing a master's thesis.
My initial trip to Syria opened my eyes to everything I didn't know. I didn't know how this society worked. I didn't know what was the polite thing to do. How do things work here? I didn't know, and I wanted to know. And it led me on to further study. Spurred by that initial travel, to try to make sense of this society and to try to understand its language and its culture and its social interactions and habits at a much deeper level.
Well, thank you for joining us, Sharon. This is Kate Mason, and I want to thank all of you for listening to the International Itinerant.